Welcome to World Code Updates, your daily briefing on everything happening around the world. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. August 2025, Kansas. The day begins like any other, with the sun rising over endless fields of golden wheat, painting the landscape in warm, hopeful light. But beneath this familiar beauty, something is deeply wrong. The headline flashes across screens and newspapers everywhere: Canada overtakes us as world's top wheat exporter. For the first time in living memory, the United States has lost its place at the top, sending shockwaves through rural communities. In the heartland, the silence says it all. The fields, once alive with the roar of machinery and the laughter of workers, now lie still, as if holding their breath. Once busy wheat fields in Kansas and the Dakotas are now eerily quiet. The wind moves through unharvested wheat, but there are no hands to gather it, no trucks to haul it away. Grain elevators stand empty, casting long shadows over deserted rail lines. The infrastructure built to move America's harvest now sits idle, a monument to better times. The hum of harvest is gone, replaced by uncertainty. The familiar rhythm of the season has been broken, leaving only questions in its wake. Farmers gather in diners not to talk about weather, but about contracts that never came, and a future that feels fragile. Conversations are hushed, eyes are downcast, and hope is in short supply. The rhythm of planting, growing, and selling is broken. Equipment sits unused, weeds creeping around tires, as if nature itself is reclaiming what was once a hive of activity. The world market has turned away, and the economic engine of rural America has stalled. Main streets are quieter, shops close early, and the sense of community is strained by worry. At the co-op, bins overflow with unsold wheat, truckers sit idle. The grain, once destined for ships and distant tables, now has nowhere to go, piling up as a daily reminder of lost opportunity. Ports that once bustled with U.S. grain now see Canadian ships loading up next door. The contrast is stark: activity and prosperity on one side, emptiness and frustration on the other. American wheat, once the gold standard, now sits unwanted. Warehouses fill with unsold grain, and the pride of generations is reduced to surplus. The cruel irony: this year's harvest was good, the quality high, yet prosperity has vanished. Farmers hold perfect grains in their hands, but their faces show only worry and disbelief. Farmers stare at their fields, seeing not bounty, but burden. The land that once promised security now brings only questions about survival. This crisis was born not in the soil but in distant boardrooms and shipping offices. Decisions made far from the fields have rippled out, changing lives overnight. The silence is the sound of trust evaporating into the prairie air. In the fading light, the future feels uncertain, and the heartland waits for answers that may never come. The fields are full, stretching as far as the eye can see, golden and heavy with promise. But the order books are empty, and the silos echo with silence instead of commerce. This isn't about drought or poor harvests. Yields are strong, quality is high. The wheat is as good as it's ever been, the result of years of hard work and innovation. The problem is trust. Buyers haven't lost faith in the wheat itself, but in America's ability to deliver reliably, on time, and as promised. It started with small incidents: late shipments, paperwork errors, inconsistent specs. Each mistake seemed minor, almost routine, but they added up. Each was minor, but together they formed a pattern. Buyers began to hesitate, then demand guarantees, then look elsewhere. Confidence, once lost, is hard to regain. The real issue isn't spoiled grain, but rejected shipments and unreliable delivery. It's the uncertainty that drives buyers away. In a just-in-time world, even a short delay can disrupt entire supply chains. A missed deadline can mean empty shelves and broken contracts. These are logistical and administrative failures, not agricultural ones. The system meant to move grain from field to table is faltering. The "Grown in the USA" label, once a mark of pride and reliability, has eroded, chipped away by every delay and error, every missed promise. Farmers, powerless over these failures, are left with world-class wheat and nowhere to sell it. Their livelihoods hang in the balance, caught in a system they can't control. The crisis is about the perceived quality of the American export system, not the grain itself. Reputation, once damaged, is slow to heal. Trust, not wheat, is in short supply. Without it, contracts remain unsigned and opportunities slip away. The world is no longer willing to wait. In a global market, reliability is everything, and right now, America's is in question. For decades, the U.S. was the world's breadbasket. American wheat fed nations, stabilized economies, and symbolized reliability. Buyers everywhere trusted U.S. grain to arrive on time, as promised. But dominance bred complacency. The system became rigid, slow to adapt to changing global demands. Small inefficiencies were ignored, relationships neglected. The focus was on moving volume, not nurturing trust. Meanwhile, competitors grew more agile and customer-focused. Aging infrastructure and bureaucracy became liabilities. America's fall wasn't sudden, it was a slow descent, fueled by the belief that yesterday's success guaranteed tomorrow's. The decline wasn't a single disaster, but 1,000 small failures. Whispers at grain conferences became open complaints. Shipments arrived late, specs were off, paperwork was a mess. Each incident was minor, but together they formed a web of doubt. Reports warning of reliability issues were ignored. Buyers became more demanding, but the U.S. system stayed inflexible. Political instability and trade disputes added risk. Canada, meanwhile, offered stability and peace of mind. The trust built over generations began to crumble. Each late shipment was another leak in the dam. Eventually, buyers made alternatives their first choice. America's wheat empire eroded, not by catastrophe, but by relentless neglect. America's decline in the global grain market is best seen through the eyes of its lost customers, buyers who once relied on the U.S. as their primary source, but who ultimately felt compelled to look elsewhere. Take Mexico, for example. For decades it was a loyal buyer of American wheat, forging strong trade ties. But over time, persistent shipping delays, unpredictable trade policies, and mounting volatility wore down that trust. Mexican importers grew frustrated as their supply chains became less reliable, and their businesses suffered. Meanwhile, Canada stepped in with a promise of guaranteed delivery and seamless logistics. Their ports ran like clockwork, and their grain arrived on time every time. It didn't take long for Canada to become the new favorite supplier. Mexican millers and bakers who depend on consistency were willing to pay a premium for this newfound reliability. For them, peace of mind was worth the extra cost. South Korea followed a similar path. After enduring repeated inconsistencies and logistical headaches with American shipments, they too shifted their business northward. Canada's meticulous inspection process and unwavering quality guarantees quickly won over South Korean buyers who valued transparency and high standards. Even Europe, a continent with its own robust wheat industry, began to favor Canadian imports. Why? Because Canada offered unmatched transparency, traceability, and a level of detail in documentation that European buyers demanded. In contrast, the American system struggled to keep up. Disorganized paperwork and incomplete shipping documents left European buyers frustrated and uncertain. Canada's integrated logistics system, connecting farms, railways, and ports, made the entire process safer, smoother, and more dependable for international customers. These customers didn't want to abandon their long-standing American partners. Many had built relationships over years, even decades. But in the end, they felt they had no choice. The transition didn't happen overnight. It began with small trial orders of Canadian wheat, just enough to test the waters. As each shipment arrived on time and met expectations, confidence grew. Every flawless Canadian delivery tipped the balance further, convincing buyers that reliability was no longer a gamble, but a guarantee. The great shift wasn't triggered by a single catastrophic failure. Instead, it was Canada's relentless reliability, shipment after shipment, that gradually won the world's trust. America didn't lose its customers out of animosity or sudden betrayal. It lost them to a competitor who simply did the basics right, consistently and without excuses. As the foundation of trust cracked, the once bustling American grain industry watched its customers quietly move on. In the end, trust, once lost, proved nearly impossible to win back, leaving American exporters to face the consequences of neglecting the fundamentals. While the U.S. system faltered, Canada built its brand on reliability. Canada focused on being the best partner, not the biggest supplier. Their system is transparent, consistent, and efficient. Buyers know exactly what they'll get. The Canadian Grain Commission tracks and grades every shipment, guaranteeing quality. No surprises, no excuses. Canada modernized its railways and ports, streamlined paperwork, and embraced digital solutions. Ships at Vancouver load quickly and leave on time. The maple leaf became a symbol of trust. Canadian trade missions listened to customers and delivered solutions. In a world where a single delay can cost millions, Canada's reputation for reliability became its greatest asset. They didn't just sell wheat, they sold peace of mind. In the end, trust was worth more than price. Beyond trade stats, the crisis hits hardest in rural America. Farmers like John Peterson in Kansas see bins full, but bank accounts empty. The local co-op can't buy, the wheat has nowhere to go. Loans for seed and equipment become crushing debts. Families face impossible choices: sell land, delay repairs, or leave farming behind. The stress is relentless, fueling a quiet mental health crisis. Main streets fade as farmers stop spending, young people leave, schools and churches shrink. The loss is more than income, it's identity, pride, and legacy. The American dream in the wheat belt is slipping away. In today's grain market, reputation trumps price and volume. Buyers want certainty. Will the wheat arrive as promised with no complications? Just-in-time supply chains mean a short delay can halt entire factories. Reliability is now worth more than a discount. American agriculture is learning this the hard way. The product isn't just wheat, it's the whole package: logistics, paperwork, communication, and trust. Canada built its export strategy around this, selling predictability and flawless execution. Their reputation commands loyalty and higher prices. For the US to compete, it must shift from commodity to reputation. Every transaction matters. Every error is a mark against the brand. The market has a better alternative now. Rebuilding trust will require a monumental shift in mindset. The goal: become the world's most trusted supplier again. The path back for American wheat is long and hard. There's no quick fix. Trust must be rebuilt, shipment by shipment. It starts with admitting the system is broken and listening to customers. Modernize ports, streamline paperwork, and integrate the supply chain. Every player must see themselves as a guardian of the national reputation. Each on-time, hassle-free delivery is a step forward. Exporters must become true partners, not just suppliers. Offer traceability, guarantee quality, and communicate proactively. This is a national challenge, requiring unity from farmers to policymakers. Grown in the USA must once again mean absolute reliability. Only through relentless focus on trust can America reclaim its legacy.